now. But breast cancer. I wanted to talk about the estrogen and breast cancer connection. We understand that estrogen is actually created by cholesterol and created by the pituitary gland, sending signals to cholesterol inside the ovaries, producing progesterone. Then progesterone send it over to another cell, and then it converts and synthesizes estrogen. Estrogen is what you would call a cellular proliferator, meaning it grows things. That's what gives a woman her plump breasts, estrogen. That's what widens out her hips, estrogen. That's what gives her a round behind, estrogen. That's what forms the uterine wall, estrogen. The endometrium lining of the cervix, estrogen. Estrogen is what brings on the maturity of a woman, for she's able to conceive and repopulate the earth by her seed. Not by your fertilizer that you call seed, but by her seed that you call an egg. Let's get it straight. We got to start preaching the right science here. So what we notice is too much excessive estrogen buildup inside the body. It strips iron from its bound form. So when you look at iron is actually a part of a glycoprotein called transferrin. Trans just means the transportation of a molecule. Ferrin means iron. Transferrin hides out in another protein that sticks inside a cell called ferritin. That's how it's bound. So iron hemoglobin is actually bound with oxygen, and it's bound to a cell, and it's transported throughout the body by transferrin. And then it's transported inside a capsule called ferritin. But what happens is when the body is actually introduced with too much estrogen or estrogen-like molecules, because there are molecules that act like estrogen. For instance, the body don't know the difference between regular natural estrogen or microplastic. So guess what? If you're drinking water bottles, women, that's sitting in the car in front of the sun, that's not BPA free, guess what you're drinking? You're drinking microplastics, and these microplastics is going into the bloodstream and acting as estrogen in the body. So the body's going to look like you're producing too much estrogen. Another thing, alcohol. Alcohol have a lot of phytoestrogen naturally building in it. So women that are alcoholics, you have more estrogen in your body than others. You see what I'm saying? Medication. There's a bunch of medication that have estrogen-like receptors to them, where it will trick your body, your pituitary gland, your adrenal axis, and your ovaries to thinking that it have a bunch of estrogen in it when it don't. So there's many different ways to have estrogen. Chamomile herb, bunch of estrogen. Lavender, hella freaking estrogen in it. Lavender perfumes, estrogen going right. And this is synthetic estrogen. So you're drinking this synthetic estrogen and you intaking all this synthetic estrogen plus the estrogen that you're building up naturally. Guess what it's going to do? It actually pulls iron from its bond form and it becomes free iron. Free iron is some of the worst damage in the body because free iron rusts, because it's going to try to find as much oxygen molecule as it can. And when it does, it turns into what you would call a reactive oxidative species, or what you call or ROS. This brings the body and the cells into oxidative stress. Oxidative stress is when the cells start rusting and you start wearing out the telomeres to your DNA. So a mutation sets place, and when the mutation sets place, RNA copies that mutation, then it bursts a new cell. Now this cell is ugly, fragmented, and it's reproducing too fast, and guess what they call that? Cancer. And guess where it usually happening? In the breast. So when you're looking right here, in the breast, if you look right here, this is what you would call the internal memory node. The internal memory node. These green spots is what you call lymph nodes. If you look at these vessels, these are called lymphatic vessels. If you look at this one, this is called the axillary branch or the axillary node. When these get blocked up because too much estrogen, and estrogen is very, very acidic, by the way, just like testosterone is very, very acidic, just like pregnenolone hormone, or what you would call steroid, is very, very acidic. What you look at that's actually alkaline and naturally alkaline is what you would call progesterone. But all of your sexual hormones come by way of cholesterol. Without cholesterol, it's impossible to produce these actually lipid steroids that produces your sexual hormones, for you can make love and produce a child, right? Now check this out. Every month, your pituitary holler at your actual ovaries and tell it to produce something called a corpus luteum. Now, the corpus luteum is produced something by something called luteinizine. Luteinizine hormone is called LH. It's actually triggered by the pituitary gland. So a lot of people don't realize that what messes with the breast is the pituitary gland. How you got fibroids, PCOS, not PCOS, but polycystic ovarian syndrome. Yes, I said it right. PCOS and all these different types of fibroids and mass and cervical cancer inside of the breast is because you're producing too much estrogen. But what's making it do that? Everybody want to pay attention to the vagina area, but never talk about that pituitary gland. See that? You need to focus on pituitary, adrenal, and thyroid axis health. Let me say it again. You need to focus on pituitary, adrenal, and thyroid axis health. Y'all think I'm lying? Let's look it up. See, this is all right here. Let's look it up, though. Let me show y'all how y'all getting breast cancer. Adrenal, pituitary, thyroid axis. See that?
According to NCBI, a major component of the homeostatic response is the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis, an intricate yet robust neuroendocrine mechanism that mediates the effects of stressors by regulating numerous physiological processes, such as metabolism, immune responses, and the autonomic nervous system.
All right, now check it out. Let's look at it. So, this is the hypothalamus campus. This is the pituitary. We see that the trophins, or what you would call descending hormones, is coming down. It passes through the hypothalamus campus or the hippocampus all the way down to the pituitary gland. Then it goes to the thyroid. You see the thyroid stimulating hormone, and it gives itself a negative feedback. Then it goes into the bloodstream and it hits the adrenals. This is actually how you create what you would call your cholesterol or your sexual hormones. When that feedback loop is messed up, the only way that feedback loop get messed up is when you're introducing your body to cytotoxins, you're going through toxemia, or you're going through a deficiency, or you're putting too much estrogen in the body. That's why if you hear breast cancer, they'll call it triple negative invasive ductal breast cancer, HER2 positive. Why they saying it's HER2 positive? Because it's prone to have estrogen molecules attached to it. Remember, estrogen grows shit. The same thing as arginine. Arginine is an amino acid that's a part of the proliferation of a cell. That's why if you have herpes, you can't eat things that have arginine in it, because it's going to promote cellular growth, which is going to give you canker sores and break you out, whether it's in the ganglion nerve or whether it's actually in the caucus area of your body. That's why you have to have more L-lysine. The same thing that happened with cancer. Estrogen grows cancer. Arginine grows it. Now, every food you have estrogen in it. You just got a few foods that don't. So you just have to make sure that you eat food that's going to naturally stimulate your pituitary gland to give you more progesterone than estrogen. Same thing when you got herpes. You have to eat more food that have more L-lysine than arginine, because you can't have one without the other, because God didn't create things like that. You see what I'm saying? So you have to stay away from alcohol if you want to cut down your all-cause mortality by breast cancer. You have to get rid of all bottled things. Plastic cookware, get rid of that shit. Throw it away. Do not store your food in plastic containers. That is microplastic. Get you a shower filter, because you are actually getting a bunch of microplastic in your shower. Then the heat actually warms up your skin, thins out your blood, and open up your pores. So these microplastics is going straight into the bloodstream, going straight to the vagina, and you get more estrogen that way. Remember, these are estrogen-like molecules. Now, remember what I was saying. What estrogen does is it literally pulls iron out of its global form that's actually in its bonded form, and it creates a free iron or free form. And y'all just get on Google and look up free iron. Then look up bound iron. Look up ferritin. Look up transferrin. Look up the Fe or the Fe, or what they call Fe. You got Fe2. Fe3+. These are talking about cations and anions. When these start happening and you start having a bunch of free iron in the blood, especially, and that's why if you look at breast cancer, it's always usually in women that's in their 40s or up after they go through menopause, because once you go through menopause, you don't actually have a menstrual cycle no more. Usually you can get rid of all this iron through your menstrual cycle. That's why women that's anemia, notice they lose a lot of blood when they have heavy periods, but they don't get breast cancer. But the moment that you go through menopause, you can't have those periods no more. You getting rid of all of your iron. That's why you see most women that have heavy periods are anemic. The reason why they're anemic because they're losing so much iron. Notice, so when you see iron building up in a woman that have a bunch of estrogen, sooner or later she's going to get diagnosed with breast cancer. Now, what happens? Soon as she go to the doctor, they're going to get a mastectomy, cut off the breast, and then they're going to give her all of these chemotherapy treatments, probably some radiation treatments, and then she go into remission about 2 to 5 years, and then it metastasize and it's so-called spread to the lungs. That's why all breast cancer reoccurrence always end up with lung cancer, y'all, because we're doing the wrong methodology and treatment of cancer. Don't treat cancer, take it through its natural detoxification mechanism, which is why it's there in the first place, and let the body get rid of all the endotoxemia that's inside the cellular structure. So I'm going to show y'all how to do this. You have to get rid of all estrogen, right? So to get rid of estrogen, stop drinking alcohol off back, right? Because they have cytoestrogen-like molecules in them. Make sure that you're not eating soybeans. Soybeans have a bunch of natural estrogen in it. Don't do that at all. Quit drinking and eating out of anything that has plastic, because that will leak cytoestrogen and cytogen-like estrogen things to you. Do not put your stuff, well, I can't even say that because I'm finna say don't put your plastic water bottles in the sun, but I'm telling you don't eat plastic anyway. And stay away from herbs and vegetables that have high amounts of estrogen in them. And all you got to do is do a simple Google, make sure it's a trusted site, and you will see that a lot of herbs, female herbs at that, come with a natural bunch of estrogen in it. Why you think you don't tell people to do black cohosh when they have vagina issues, or they because it have a bunch of estrogen in it. It's going to cause more harm than good to the body. Y'all see that? All right, now, breast cancer. If I was a female and I had breast cancer, the first thing I would do is I would go completely all raw. I wouldn't eat nothing that was cooked. I would go completely raw until my diagnosis was reversed. All right? I'm not going to do nothing but eat vegetables and fruit all raw, and I'm going to make sure my vegetables is at a 70%, and I'm going to make sure, my fruits is at a 70%, and my vegetables is at a 30%. That's what I'm going to eat, 70% fruit, 30% vegetables, all organic. I will try to find a local farmer's market who I can trust, that I know that grow their food, that don't spray their food with herbicides, insecticides, and pesticides. That's what I would do. Also, I would stop wearing bras completely, because what bras do is, imagine you having all of these lymph nodes inside of your breast, and then you are literally pushing these breasts up. These lymph nodes become entangled and they start closing. So now you don't have the proper thyroid duct drainage out of the breast. So now the lymph node vessels cannot drain properly anymore. So you have stagnated lymph that's just hanging around in these areas, causing the coagulation of not only blood, but in lymphatic fluid. Now, guess what's in lymphatic fluid, y'all? Remember, the lymphatic fluid is the actual sewage system of the body. So what's in the lymphatic fluid? Toxemia, fecal matter from metabolic waste byproducts, unutilized minerals. You see that? Sickle cell bloods have been destroyed. Dead cells, dead blood cells, unutilized hormones, unutilized steroids, acids. These are the things that supposed to go inside the trash can. What happens if you don't take your trash out? You usually get backed up. So imagine you having these breasts, and then you have all these lymph drainage ducts or vessels there, and then you lifting them up and you turning the vessels the right side up when they're supposed to be going down, for you can drain through your thoracic duct outside of your kidneys through your urination. All that stagnation is going to get caught in the breast. Then you got estrogen-like hormones in that same area with coagulations of cells and blood cells. You're going to grow tumors. Once you grow tumors, remember, it ain't going to go into the blood cells. The tumors are there to become the trash can, for you won't die of acidosis or a pH potential hydrogen change of the blood. So it's going to constantly collect and grow. Now the ducts, invasive ductal carcinoma, now the ducts is going to start hardening out, and that tissue and that mass in that breast is going to get hard as a rock. Then it starts turning black, and then you start seeing your whole breast get ate from the inside out due to the acidosis. I have over 300 pictures of tumors of breast where the tumor literally have eaten all of the tissue around the breast to try as hard as to make it up out of the breast. You see what I'm saying? So how do you drain these things? Hydration. 55 ounces of liquids a day. Nothing but dark leafy green vegetable juice, astringent fruit juice, The rest of it, make it up with H2O spring water, natural spring water that comes in a glass. Remember, get rid of the plastic. So we talked about food, 70-30, 70% organic natural fruits, astringent fruits, 30% dark leafy green vegetables, watery vegetables, 55 ounces of liquids a day. Out of that 55 ounces of liquids, 25 of them ounces need to be either dark leafy green vegetable juice or astringent fruit juice. Switch them up. On Sundays, drink 25 ounces of astringent fruit juice. On Mondays, drink 25 ounces of dark leafy green vegetable juice. Make sure it's organic. Then the other 25 you have to make up daily should be H2O spring water. Always drink it warm. Always drink it warm, not even room temperature. Always drink it warm, because this is going to get the chelation moving. This is going to open up the bile ducts, the duodenum, the jejunum, the cecum, all these things that you need to get the fecal matter out of your digestive system, so you can relieve the volumetric pressure off of all the lymph nodes that's inside of your gut, because that's where it's at. That's the thoracic duct. That's yes. That's the thoracic duct lymph node right there. Yes. Once you open it up, the floodgates open up. You have to remember, from the head up, what do they call that? They call that the cervical area. See that? From the eyes up, Seth. Seth means head. From the neck up, cervical. From the neck down to your pecs, they call that the axillary. Once you get down here, they call it the goat, the gut-associated lymphatic tissues. You start going further, they call it the paier patchers. Then you got the thoracic duct that drains the right to the left. Then it goes to the kidneys and it go out through your urination. Like, if anybody know their lymphatic system, it will be me. And I know how to drain it. You have hundreds of miles of lymphatic vessels that you have to drain. This sometimes take a while, but it moves faster when you are actually hydrating the body through fruits, vegetables, and H3O2 juices. Not only that, you have to jump. I keep trying to tell y'all about the trampoline. Take your bra off and jump and let them things bounce. Move that lymphatic system. The more you bounce them things, the more you're causing friction. You're causing a violent reaction. Imagine you making these jump up and down with that friction and that violent reaction. You starting to move lymph now. Plus they hanging because they not sitting up all bunched up in a bra. And most of your bras have metals in them anyway. So get rid of that anyway, because it throws off the microhertz of your electrical system, or what you will call your magnetic grid anyway of your body. You see what I'm saying? So yes. So jump up and down. Do probably like 20 minutes of trampolining a day, or what you would call rebounding. Do about 20 minutes of that a day. And breast massages. Massage your breasts. Massage them constantly, at least once a day. Give yourself a breast massage. If you have a significant other, get them to get you some castor oil. Mix your castor oil with actual grapeseed oil and massage your breast. Castor oil, it literally dives deep into the blood. It dives deep into the tissue, and it has a way of breaking up coagulation of cells, or agglomerations of cells. So get that castor oil in there and deep massage it. Make sure when you're massaging it, though, massage it towards the nipple, because we're not trying to get to the kidneys. It's life or death here. Forget the kidneys right now. We're gonna be getting them up and running, but we have an outlet. It's called a fontanelle, our alternative route of elimination, which is the nipples. We're gonna massage everything towards them nipples. Hopefully we get some black mucosa goo coming out of them nipples. That means you're healing. You see that? And of course, as far as the herbs, you're going to get my geogenetic therapeutic package